Hey guys, this is Richard with High Tech Battery. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Leoch LMX20L Series Battery. The game plan for us today is to do an unboxing. Let's take a look at the battery, get our first impressions, and then second, let's go ahead and review the CCA and spec information on the battery and see how it compares to some of the top competitors in the space, such as Deka and Yuasa. And then third, let's talk about some of the manufacturing and design specifications of the battery, how it was made, why it was made this way, and what it allows the battery to do. It's one of the things that's really set this battery apart from our normal product offerings, is what's really piqued our interest as curators of battery options for power sport applications. And then finally, let's go and see what it fits. You know, what can the battery be used in, et cetera, et cetera. So let's go ahead and dive into it. All right. Out of the box, we have the owner's manual, we have the hardware, and last but not least, the battery itself. Okay, this is the LMX20L. First impressions, it's a sharp looking battery. Our decals look sharp. I have a decal on the top detailing what it is, along with the voltage and amp hour rating. And then we've also got the decal on the side of the battery. Obviously for the bikes, you know, whether it's a Sportster, etc., where you have one side of the battery exposed, or even some of your Yamahas where you have the back of the battery exposed, the color of the case does matter. So you might not want an ugly yellow color from a company like Motobat, but a flat black case is pretty desirable. It looks very sleek. You can tell by the design it's a sturdy construction. It's your typical AGM battery. The plates are under high compression in here, so there's no movement whatsoever, no sound. You'll never be able to hear a drop of acid move around in this battery, as it's an AGM product. That means it's an absorbed glass mat. Yes, it is still a lead acid battery. There's still acid inside this battery that's required in order to make the electricity produced by this battery and store it. However, the acid is absorbed into glass mat plates inside the battery. It's not sloshing around. If you were to puncture the battery, it would take a very, very, very long time to leak out of the battery. Very long time. It is something that can be mounted on its side and not leak without an issue. So let's go into, you know, some of the specs of the battery itself. I guess before you do that, let's go ahead and take a look at the terminals. It's another nice thing that I like about the LMX20L series is going to be the terminals. They are a flush mount option, right? You don't get that with your ETX20L and your YTX20L series batteries. They have a recessed post, so you have to use a spacer right in between, right in the beginning, in order to make the connection flush and solid. So it's one less potential point of failure by bringing the terminals flush. Another nice thing I like about them is that they're a threaded post. You could thread right down into them, and there's no lock nut that has to sit down here in order to grab that bolt and hold it in place along with your battery cable. Another point of failure that's been done away with. Now, Deka has a threaded post just like this in their ETX20L product offering. However, Yuasa in their infinite wisdom does not. I think it's because it allows them to potentially mount from the side, although you don't really do that with a lot of their 20 and 30L series batteries. So that has been a pain point with their Yuasa customers, and that's been taken care of with the Leoch LMX series. Getting into the specs, this is going to be a 12-volt battery. It's an 18 amp hour capacity. It's an 18 amp hour reserve capacity on a 20 HR scale, and it also has 320 CCA. That CCA number, 320. Let's talk about it in terms of industry standards from some of our competitors here in this space. There's two giants that are going to be in the power sport space, Deka and Yuasa. You're going to see a lot of no-name brands out there. Those are really our two major players in that space, is going to be Deka and Yuasa, and they kind of set the industry standard on what to expect in terms of lead acid power sport battery. ETX20L, which is the same case size as this, that battery is 310 CCA and 18 amp hour capacity. It's actually a little bit less by 10 CCA. Not a night and day difference, but the LMX has a slightly better performance. And then compare that to the YTX20HL from Motocross Yuasa. That battery, again, doesn't have that flush mount option, and it's also 310 CCA, 18 amp hour capacity. So the Leoch LMX series ekes out a little bit extra CCA in that same case size, a little bit extra lead plates in there due to higher compression, which we'll get into here shortly. So in terms of performance, we do kind of squeak right past Deka and Yuasa for a higher CCA battery. which does make a difference when you're dealing with motors that have had some work on them. Some of our Harley boys have higher compression ratios on their bikes, like to get the highest CCA with the best reserve capacity they can put in there. And this will get you there. Let's talk about the design of the battery and the manufacturing process. Why the LMX series caught our eye. The high-tech battery, what we are, we're essentially battery curators. We take a look at the market. We have a wide variety of different vendors and manufacturers that come to us and want us to carry their product. And we're getting to the point now where something really has to catch our eye. There has to be something that really truly makes this product offering unique in order for us to bring it on board and offer it to our customers. The LMX battery did that with two things. First, there are higher CCA ratings for their entire LMX line, right? Then the question came down to how? How did you get that higher CCA rating? And it turns out that the manufacturing process is what made that happen. Twofold. First is going to be what they call a radial grid, and the second is going to be the welding process that they use to connect the cells together. Let's talk about the radial grids first. We're going to put up a picture of 3 different style grids. So there's a poured grid, there's a punched grid, and then there's a radial grid. Radial grid is what we like to see in Powersport batteries, and very few of the battery manufacturers out there do a true radial grid. A radial grid has a central lug at the very top where the power is being pulled from the battery, and the rest of the plate essentially comes out in a starburst pattern. It's designed to draw energy to that central lug in the shortest distance possible, so you could pull power extremely quick and a lot of it through the grid. Now, this allows for a tremendous amount of power, the maximum amount of power, to be pulled from the battery at one time. So that construction style is going to allow for the highest CCA output and the highest continuous CCA output. And the second thing that really caught our eye was the through partition welding that the company uses. And what is that? So if we could find a battery with the top cut off, we're going to be posting that image here in this video. Hopefully we have. And you can see here, every 12-volt battery is comprised of 6 cells. Each cell is 2 volts. Those cells need to be connected together in series in order to make a 12-volt battery. And it comes down to welding those cells together. You need to weld the first cell to the second cell to the third, etc., etc. And how that welding is taking place is a big determining factor on the longevity and the lifespan of the battery. The higher quality that weld, the longer the lifespan of the battery. If you're doing an over-the-top partition, which is what a lot of the lesser manufacturers do that have the economy line batteries out there, the weld comes up and over to the next cell. That is one additional breaking point for each individual cell. And considering you have 6 cells in there and you've got each individual potential point of failure, that's a high potential of failure. What they don't do good with is resistance. And that's the name of the game when we're dealing with Powersport applications, especially for Harley-Davidson. Harleys are notorious for breaking welds on batteries because of the high vibration of the bike. These are through the partition welding. In other words, there's no up and over, it's simply through the partition. There is a hole drilled through the partition. There's a special welding machine that's designed and built specifically for this case size, for this battery line, that welds one cell to the other with a through connector. It's a straight shot. It's a shorter distance, so there's less electricity lost from point A to point B, and it's a stronger weld. It can handle vibration a lot better. So that means for you, the end consumer, higher energy throughput, so higher CCA, and a better service life. So better bang for your buck. You're buying a premium product and you expect it to last longer than you would a traditional or conventional style battery. That's exactly what this manufacturing process offers. It offers a higher CCA and it offers a better and longer longevity. Let's wrap it up with, what does it fit? This battery fits a wide variety of Yamaha ATVs, Harley-Davidson Sportsters, and also Indian Chief and Dark Horse motorcycles. It fits a lot of different applications. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Those are the ones that we hear the lot when we're on the phone or when we're on the chat with our customers. This is a 20L series battery. 20L, 20 is the group size, L determines the position of the terminal, mainly of the positive terminal, L left. So it replaces any 20L series or 20HL series battery. For example, the LMX20L battery will replace the Deca ETX20L. It will also replace the Yuasa/Motocross YTX20L and the YTX20HL series battery. So I hope this video has been informative for you, gets you a little bit more knowledge that you were searching for the LMX20L series batteries. If you have any questions, we have a very knowledgeable staff. Please feel free to reach out to us. We can be reached toll-free at 1-877-775-4381. You can be reached online at www.techbatterysolutions.com. We have a manned chat desk with 3 of our representatives, and yes, they are real people. Or we can be reached at orders@techbatterysolutions.com via email. I appreciate your time today, guys. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.